All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Felipe. I'm the CEO at MConf. And just before I introduce the speaker of our next session, or the first session of the last day of the conference, I'd like to tell you that this session is being interpreted in Portuguese and Spanish, thanks to our interpreters today, Bruno, Monica, Veronica, and Paula. They are students in the final period of the interpreter training course at PUC Rio in Brazil. So many thanks to them, to PUC Rio, and to our RNP, the Brazilian NRAN, for making that happen. You will see below the presentation the control to switch between audio channels. This is the original track, but you will find there the interpreted tracks. So welcome everyone and enjoy the event. Fred, back to you.
Sounds great. Welcome, everybody. It's my pleasure now to introduce Alexis. Alexis Fishbaugh is originally from Sioux City, Iowa, and is now based in Vigo, Spain. She probably pronounced it incorrectly. She holds a Bachelor in Administration from Spanish and Florida University and 2 master's degrees in business-related fields, with years of experience in education as an in-person English teacher in Bilbao, and later as an online teacher for children in China. Alexis has also worked in the international commerce sector before launching her own venture. Combining her passion for language learning and global communication, she founded Kids Club Spanish School, an innovative online platform offering live, immersive Spanish classes for children. Her mission is to make language learning fun, accessible, and effective by connecting young learners with native Spanish speakers through engaging virtual experiences. Alexa, looking forward to it. It's over to you.
Thank you, Fred. Good morning. I'm Alexis Fishbaugh. I'm co-founder of Kids Club Spanish School, an online Spanish school for children. Fred Dixon believes we have a story that EdTech folks would find interesting about building an online business and helping young kids learn Spanish. So here I am to share that story with you, and I hope Fred's right, that you'll find it worthwhile or at least interesting. A little bit of background about me. My family has been in education since the 1800s and the days of one-room schoolhouses in the United States. More recently, my mom was an assistant principal at a high school, and my dad was a music professor at a local university where I grew up. And I actually had to check this on this with my dad. I sent him an urgent email the other day to confirm. I was really nervous he wouldn't respond in time because he just turned 90 and isn't the best at checking emails, because you know how it is when you hear something in your family that doesn't really interest you at the time until it becomes an important part of a presentation you're about to do for your company. Then you're worried about what you remembered isn't exactly what was told to you. That just might be me, but anyways. So this, per confirmation of my father, here, I'll read you the email he sent. Sweetie, Dad taught 20 years at the Geneva, New York High School, and then 3 years at the Santa Barbara, California Business College, which was on the top floor of the current Granada Theater building. Then he tried to start his own business college in Oxnard, California, but was unsuccessful. This was back in the 1940s and 50s. Good luck on your presentation. Thanks, Dad. So all this said, I think I always knew I would end up in the education field, although I definitely resisted. I wanted to do something different. As a child, I loved languages. I used to scribble made up French in a diary, pretending I was writing like a Parisian, although it really was just gibberish. One of my earliest memories in elementary school, probably kindergarten, was saying oui and bonjour for an entire recess, just because I learned it that day and it felt so cool to be speaking a different language. I could hardly wait for 8th grade. That was the first year we were allowed to take a foreign language at school. But when I turned 13, I found that I wasn't allowed to sign up because I had gotten a C in English class, and they only allowed students who got a B and up in English to sign up for a foreign language in 8th grade. To this day, I'm still embarrassed by that grade because I really was generally a good student, but despite my embarrassment, I'm owning up to it to include it in this presentation since it's part of what brought me here. My mom, as you can imagine, was not happy with me at the time. Obviously, she had moved from being an English teacher to in a local middle school to the vice principal. So having a daughter get a C in English was not a proud moment for her, and I'm sure I got grounded for a good while. But she also backed me up because she knew how much I wanted to learn a foreign language. She called the school, promised I'd bring my English grade up, and convinced them to let me sign up for a language class that next year. I honestly don't remember if I brought that English grade up or not, but I was allowed to choose a foreign language, and I chose, of course, French. I enjoyed it so much that my sophomore year in high school, after 2 years of learning French, I also enrolled in Spanish, becoming the only student in the school to be taking 2 foreign language classes at a time. Again, as I said, I totally resisted studying to be a teacher, but also I wasn't sure that what that different thing was I wanted to do when I grew up. So I kept studying both languages through college, as it was the only thing I knew I actually really liked studying. I graduated with a degree in Spanish, but as I said, I was still unsure what I wanted to do. I had studied in Bilbao, Spain, for 1.5 years during college. Again, another first, longer than anyone else had in my study abroad program, as the norm was one semester or 2, not 3, like me. But I think we're starting to see a pattern with me and languages. So after graduating with a degree in Spanish, I decided to go back to Bilbao to perfect my Spanish and think about what I wanted to do. I got certified to teach English with a TEFL degree, and I stayed for a couple years teaching while figuring things out. While I didn't love the teaching itself, it was a way for me to make a living while living abroad. To tell you the truth, I really fell in love with the planning of classes. It was my favorite part of teaching. What I didn't enjoy was the classroom management, the part where you had to get everyone to pay attention so your lesson plan actually had some success. I felt like I knew how to teach languages because I loved them. So if the students would just pay attention and follow my lesson plan, it would be great. But as many teachers know, loving the subject matter you're teaching doesn't necessarily mean the students always respond the way you hope. And this experience only solidified my decision not to teach as a profession. After 2 years in Bilbao, I decided when I returned to the US, I'd go to law school. Why did I decide that? I don't know. I think inspired by a few too many episodes of Law and Order. I enrolled in an online paralegal certificate program through the University of Florida in 2009, planning to stay in Spain 1 more year while I completed it online. And that's when I met my now husband, and I ended up staying in Spain for good, never putting to use the paralegal degree. We moved to Madrid for his job, and I earned a master's in international commerce there, another in supply chain management back in Bilbao. And over 8 years, I worked in international purchasing and logistics. I thought I'd found my professional path, as I really enjoyed working in business. But this was during the extended economic crisis in Spain, 2008 to 2015. Salaries weren't ideal. While pregnant with my first child, I heard about an opportunity to teach English online to kids in China. The schedule was perfect, mornings before work and weekends. The extra cash was just to help us as a young couple starting out, setting up the baby's room, getting all the essentials. The lessons were pre-made, so there was no prep work, with the idea that made things easier for teachers who worked for the company. However, it ended up being the exact part of teaching I didn't like. I thought of how great it must be to be the one who has the job of preparing the curriculum and just passing the presentation slides off to a teacher who would definitely be more of a professional in classroom management than me to teach them. Teaching slides created by someone else just wasn't fulfilling. And I remember thinking, someone out there gets to make those slides, and that's the job I would love to have. So one day I was talking to a friend in the US about this side gig, just in casual conversation like, what's new with you? And how I'd probably stop once the baby came. And she said something interesting. You know, it would be so cool if my kids could learn Spanish like that. Do you know of any companies that offer that? And that's when it hit me. Eureka. All of a sudden, I knew what the different thing I wanted to do was. We started Kids Club Spanish School. I started creating curriculum like crazy. I was on maternity leave, so I had some extra time. And by having extra time while having a newborn, what I really meant is working on this project instead of sleeping, which is probably what I really needed. But anyway, we hired a local tech company in Bilbao to create our booking platform, and we were on the search for a video platform in order to join the teacher and student together in a teaching environment. As we built Kids Club Spanish School, one of our biggest, earliest challenges was finding the right video platform. We weren't looking for video calls. We needed a true virtual classroom environment specifically built for education. Teaching a foreign language to children, some as young as 4, means the smallest details matter. Low latency audio and video are critical so that students can clearly see and hear every gesture, every mouth movement, every prop. Pronunciation and comprehension depend on that precision. We also needed a simple, intuitive layout, one that a 4-year-old could navigate without confusion. The environment had to be visually clear with big video feeds for both the student and the teacher to foster real human connection and maximize engagement. And we wanted control over how the slides were presented, how the content is sequenced, and how the classroom looks and feels. The tech company we had partnered with researched how we could develop the virtual classroom and found BigBlueButton, which checked all of my boxes. I felt like it wasn't just a fit, it was made for what we needed. The company suggested that I reach out to BigBlueButton directly to clarify some technical questions. Even though supposedly they spoke English, they felt more comfortable if I contacted BigBlueButton to get some doubts answered. I think they were just passing on the undesirable task of navigating text jargon in a second language, which they cleverly outsourced to the native speaker, me. So one afternoon, I picked up the phone and called Canada, not thinking about how very early it still was there. But in the end, it was probably a stroke of luck. A man answered, and I introduced myself with my little startup idea. He listened quietly and then said, "Well, you're in luck. You're talking to the founder of Blindside Networks, Fred Dixon." From there, our wonderful journey with BigBlueButton began. Having Fred as our close contact really helped us move forward smoothly, and I have really appreciated the friendship and partnership that we've had throughout the years. It's been 8. Together, we created a platform where students log in, book classes on the time, day, and with the teacher of their choice through our booking platform. Then they are launched into a virtual classroom powered by BigBlueButton, following a continuous, structured, and standardized curriculum designed by yours truly. Our curriculum is colorful and born from my foreign language-loving brain, finally fulfilling its dream of sharing the joy of learning a foreign language with kids before 8th grade. Something my kindergarten self would have loved. From the beginning, we built Kids Club Spanish School to be a scalable and flexible remote operation. Watching the company grow and scale up, just as we hoped, from my home office to an office located in the center of Bilbao has been absolutely extraordinary. Today, we manage a team of 25 native speaking Spanish teachers located across Latin America and Spain, giving class from their homes, and 4 employees in Spain, also working together remotely. We've taught over 7,000 students worldwide and consistently serve about 300 active students per month. Our custom booking platform is central to how we operate. Families can book, reschedule, and cancel classes independently, with class times automatically displaying in each user's local time zones. Parents and students receive their homework via automatic emails when they start a new unit. They can watch the video playback of their classes in order to review or preview for the next class to get ready. They also receive feedback from teachers on the platform and can leave their own comments for the teachers themselves. And this setup really allows our small team to focus on what matters most, supporting teachers, guiding student progress, and refining our educational model without being overwhelmed by administrative logistics. The ease of it all is what we believe keeps students engaged with our platform long-term, as they can clearly see the progress that they're making. There are no subscriptions or long-term commitments. Families can buy and schedule class as they go, choosing the time, teacher, and frequency that works best for them. This approach gives parents full control and predictability while allowing us to maintain a sustainable, scalable business that compensates our teachers fairly. Our curriculum is planned in sequence by the platform, so the students are learning in a continuous manner. And from the Student Hub, parents can see their next classes, a summary of their students' progress. They can have a look at our teachers, read about their experience, studies, and comments left about them from previous students, kind of like shopping for their teacher. And they can book them right away from our booking platform. Also, going to class is as easy as signing into our platform and being launched right into the virtual learning environment. Native Spanish-speaking teachers from Latin America and Spain are now forming real lasting bonds with students all over the US, Canada, Europe, and Asia, all over the world, basically. I've seen a student from my small hometown in Sioux City, Iowa, and a teacher in Bolivia become true friends, remembering birthdays, exchanging gifts, and learning from each other. And most importantly, the child is speaking real-life Spanish for a full 25 minutes each day, not just repeating yes and hello for an entire day like I did as a 5-year-old. And it's incredible to know that I helped make that possible. We call our teachers edutainers because they combine education and entertainment. When we hire, we look beyond qualifications. We look for that special spark and energy. Every applicant teaches a mock class to one of our veteran teachers or mentors live, and they're evaluated on how well they've internalized our immersion method, which they study through self-guided training. But above all, we evaluate their dynamic personalities. From experience, I know online teaching is completely different from in person. In a physical classroom, you can engage with students in so many ways. A reassuring hand on the shoulder, for example, you can ensure students are distracted with a busy, noisy environment because you have control over the space. But online, those gestures and control are gone. You have to create connection through your body language. You have to control the environment via your voice and your expressions and your energy. We've had students take class from a car while the car radio is on. So imagine how difficult competing with that for the student's attention would be for the teacher. Your energy has to reach through the screen and hold their attention. That means being more animated, more expressive than ever before. Because in a virtual setting, we truly believe the teacher's personality is what fills the space and keeps the student engaged. So our task is to find those personalities to teach our classes. We've had professional actors, storytellers, and singers teach with us, always with the same sort of teaching, with some sort of teaching credentials, but also bringing this creative spark to the classrooms. Our teachers are extremely satisfied with the work they do teaching for us. For example, our Mexican teachers receive more compensation than an engineer in their hometown. We pay competitively in order to retain our teachers and thus ensure they go the extra mile for our students. 90% of our teachers stay with us long-term, several years or more, thanks to our strong culture, support network, and remote work structure. Through all my years studying French and Spanish, I noticed something interesting. Even though I had studied both languages for roughly the same amount of time, my Spanish truly took off after I did the study abroad program. And again, when I moved back to Spain to live, work, and study directly in the language. That's when I really understood how important it is to live the language and be completely immersed in it. In contrast, my French never progressed much beyond a B1 intermediate level, especially in speaking, because I lacked the real world opportunities to use it the way I had with Spanish. This experience really shaped my thinking deeply in regards to our classes. I became determined to replicate that immersive environment so that even students with zero Spanish exposure could begin learning in the language from day one. It might sound preposterous, but that really is how we all learn our own native language, so I knew it was possible. I dove into research looking for ways to bring the effectiveness of immersion into a 25-minute virtual classroom, because what I didn't want was just for teachers to talk at the students in Spanish. I wanted to figure out how we could teach in Spanish. I learned about TPR, total physical response, which in essence is the use of physical movement to support comprehension. For example, if you're teaching the word manzana, you mimic eating an apple with your hand, and then you invite the student to copy your gesture and repeat the word manzana. Muy bien. Not only does this make the interaction fun and engaging, but it also helps the students associate the new word with a clear visual and physical cue. This multisensory connection strengthens memory and helps anchor the word in long-term memory. I also explored the technique called spaced repetition, where material is reviewed repeatedly over a certain period of time to help the students truly interiorize the language. This technique takes advantage of the brain's natural memory patterns, spacing out review sessions just enough that right when the student's about to forget what they learned, we then jump in and reinforce the material right at that point. It strengthens memory and improves long-term retention. In our classes, that means revisiting key vocabulary and structures in different contexts across multiple lessons so that the words aren't just memorized for the moment, they become part of the student's active language. We cycle back to earlier content regularly, even as we introduce new material, because I truly believe that repetition with a purpose is what makes language stick. In addition to training our teachers with the use of TPR and implementing spaced repetition, we use prop and realia, real-life objects. are used to add visual context and guide comprehension without relying on translation. For example, when teaching emotions, a teacher might hold up a crying emoji and ask, ¿Está triste? ¿Sí o no? These simple visual tools keep students engaged and help them connect meaning directly to the language. Now, this is oversimplifying, and the only way to truly understand it is to go through our teacher training program. If any of you are up for it, let me know at the end of the presentation. But basically, we use simple, high-frequency language, and we pair it with expressive gestures, props, facial expressions, and routines to create meaning without translation. Every class follows a predictable structure, so students know what to expect. We all know how important routine for children is, right? And the students can begin to follow along even when they don't understand every word just yet. Remember, this is really how we learned our native language. Little by little, the language builds upon itself in a continuous, structured way. Our teachers are trained to start with new students, especially to speak slowly, clearly, and with purpose, using gestures and props, no filler language to frustrate the students, allowing students to absorb vocabulary and phrases through context and interaction. Over time, our students begin to respond, first with simple language and then gradually forming more complex sentences as their comprehension and confidence grows. The key is patience, enthusiasm, and commitment to staying in the target language, because that's where the magic happens. It's full immersion from day one, and it's one of the most important pillars of our method. It may sound challenging at first, especially with children who have never heard Spanish before, but with the right tools and delivery, thus our edutainer teachers who are carefully trained in our method, it works incredibly well. Our lessons are designed to be visual, repetitive, and full of movement. And this all together is what makes full immersion from day one of class with Kids Club Spanish School possible. This environment of consistency and clarity helps children build confidence and comprehension naturally, the same way they learn their first language. And we call our approach the end-to-end method, or native to native, connecting digital native students, kids who have grown up with screens in their hands, to native speakers of Spanish through technology. We didn't invent the pieces of this method, and we may not even be the first to put the pieces all together, but it is possible we are the first to give it a name, maybe. And that name reflects our belief that a well-designed virtual class delivered with care, energy, intention, and purpose can replicate the power of real-life immersion and change the way children learn languages. I had a conversation recently with Fred. He was just checking in with us to see how we were holding up and to touch base, and we began to speak about the future. Well, not even the future, the actual present, and the challenge that is AI. As generative AI becomes more integrated into education, the important questions being asked are, what role should human teachers play? Can learning be completely automated? Will AI replace the need for live instructors? We were both in agreement that the answer is no, at least not for what matters. AI can help us to generate content, explain grammar, and even role-play conversations. But what it can't do, at least not meaningfully, is connect, motivate, and truly engage a child. It can't adapt to in real time to students' mood, encourage them with warmth, or celebrate their little victories with genuine human enthusiasm. Especially for young children, learning isn't just about input and output. It's about relationships, emotion, and trust. We all have that special teacher that really helped us as children in school learn something, right? To this day, many of us still remember the name of our teacher, their personalities, and probably a funny anecdote they told us. And above all, made you love learning that subject or helped you to at least get a passing grade in a subject that was a nightmare for you. I sure do. My science teacher in high school, Mr. Webster. And that's something uniquely human and something that we do best. And I feel that I truly built my company on that pretext. As AI grows more capable, our mission is clearer than ever to make sure technology supports learning without replacing the parts that only humans can do. Our edutainer teachers don't just teach, they inspire, uplift, and connect. They bring the magic of immersion to life in a way no algorithm can. And we believe that that's what will keep our students coming back, staying motivated and learning deeply. So from a language assessed CEO and co-founder from Iowa, living in Spain, to edutainer teachers located all throughout Latin America and Spain, and with the help of Blindside Networks and BigBlueButton in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and a very intentional and special method, we bring you Kids Club Spanish School. Together, we're bridging a cultural gap for kids all around the world, creating real human connections through language. Since 2018, we have taught 111,649 classes. And it all started with a 5-year-old running carelessly around the playground chanting oui and bonjour. As we look ahead, we're exploring ways to expand our curriculum to include new themes and age groups, group classes, and possibly replicate our model for other languages. With tools like BigBlueButton at the core, we're excited about the future of immersive, human-centered virtual education. Now, I would like to share a class video with you. It's about a minute long, so you can get a sneak peek into one of our classes. So let's see if I can do that. I need to share my screen.
Veo algo de color rosa. ¿Qué es? ¿Mi pizza?
Mi pizza.
¿Tu pizza?
Tu pizza. But
Su pizza.
su pizza.
No.
Pero come Cheeto.
¡Ay! No. Muy bien.
¿Qué falta?
Tú pintas bien.
Muy bien, excelente. Tú pintas bien. ¿Qué falta aquí? Él
Pinta mal.
Muy bien, fantástico. ¡Yay! ¿Qué falta?
¿Qué falta? Yo pinto bien.
¡Ah! ¡Wow! Muy bien. Chócala. Muy bien.
Veo algo de color rosa. ¿Qué es?
Es la falda de color rosa.
Perfecto. Ok. Veo algo de color gris. ¿Qué es?
Es la calcetines de color gris.
No.
La gorra de color gris.
Sí, sí es el gorro, pero no veo el gorro. Yo veo otra cosa de color gris. ¿Sí? Ajá.
No es gris.
¿No es gris? ¿Qué color es?
Es azul.
¿Ah? Parece gris. Oh, sí, el gorro, correcto.
And that's Kids Club Spanish School.
Alexa, that was amazing. You'll have by far the best slides and visuals I've seen so far. And your story was just so authentic. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. I didn't know if anyone would be interested in it, but I'm glad
it was amazing. I think anybody watching this video can't help but see the passion and just the the desire that you have to, do the best by the kids. And I think some of the ways that you're doing it is just fantastic. So thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing an update again next year.
I hope so. We're coming out with a new platform that's much better booking platform and group classes. So we're really betting on this year. This year's going to be huge for us. Make or break. Well, I don't think it'll break us, but either stay the way we are or make us. So we'll see. Stay tuned.